Hey, Nikki Brown here. No matter where you are, no matter what part of the world you're in, I hope that you're having a good day. So, I wanted to come on here real quick and talk about. Mhm. Well, here's my opening statement. Many of us were told, many of us women, when we were growing up, or of a certain age, we were told that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? But we were not told that we should be married to that man before we start cooking for him, right? Um, I remember when I was in my 20s, I was friends with a Capricorn. And she had a checklist of things that she wanted to accomplish, and one of them was to be married. And she said, I'm going to get married by the end of the year. And she did. Because that's what she was focused on. And so it happened just that way. And she said that one of the things she held back was fellatio. And if you don't know what fellatio is, it's basically putting the man's meat in your mouth, right? Johnson, whatever you want to call it. I'm being very discreet and not, overtly saying it directly. If you choose to say it, that's fine. But there may be a child watching this, so I'm not going to go out and come out and say directly. But, as an adult, you should be able to read between the lines. Um, so that's what she held back. So they had, intercourse, but not oral. All right, I can say that. So they didn't have oral. Um, and anyway, she did end up, accomplishing her goal, and she got married. And so it's kind of like you have to keep certain things a mystery, and you can't give everything all at once. But in the society that we live in today, um, you have some women who are cooking for men as soon as they meet them. Some women who are bringing guys food to work, whether they married, single, or otherwise. And I remember one of my exes said, "Well, it's other women out here bringing men food." I said, "That's their business. That has nothing to do with me." Right? And a lot of those same ones, once they're in a relationship or once they're married, they stop cooking. So they just did it to get you, like a lot of men do certain things to get women. And I get it, right? One of my older friends, he said that his wife, whenever he would ask for something, she would run. He said literally run and get whatever he asked for. And then after a while, once they got married, he would ask her for something. He said one day he asked her for something, and she said okay, but she never came with it. Like, say it was a glass of water. It was something like that, right? And then he asked her a second time, and she never came with the water. And then he said he realized by the third time, she just wasn't going to bring it. And so that's how she did it. Like, she made herself very available. He said she would call him every morning to say good morning or text or whatever it was that she was doing to communicate good morning. But she would do it every day. And again, she would run to make it seem like, she just wanted, to cater to him. And he married her. And she stopped doing it. And a lot of men have similar stories where the woman will stop cooking, they'll stop having sex, they'll stop doing a lot of the things that they did to get him. It's not just men who do that, women do that too. So again, we live in a society where women are willing to do everything, so the men get the cow for free. They don't have to work for it. They don't have to put any real effort in because they can meet somebody, get cooked for, and get sloppy toppy the same day. And so why should they put in any extra effort with somebody else? Also, they feel like they have choices, they have options. There's a lot of good women out there, so why should they settle for you as a good woman? There's other good women out there. They don't care. They feel like they could still do better, and so why would they settle? um I remember one time I said to a guy that I was talking to, well, I was like, well, I would like for us, to be in a relationship with somebody that I can build with. And he was like, well, if that's what you say. But he eventually saw it my way because he was dating someone who didn't want to work, who he had to take care of, and it became a burden. Although men love women more when they're stressed because it activates that part of them, right? That's how men fall in love with stress. Women fall in love with, the conversation and the bed talk and even the intercourse can make either one of fall. But initially, before any intercourse is taking place, um, it's the cuddling, it's the hugging, it's, those things that make women fall for a guy. But um, again, for men, it is different. And one of the ways that they fall for a woman is by being stressed, but not being stressed to the point where they want to walk away. Not like extreme stress, but like um maybe you're not available when he wants to see you type of stress. So now he's wondering where you are, what you're doing, or if you're with another guy. Because although he may be doing God knows what, whoever, whenever, however, a lot of times guys still don't want you to do that. Even if they don't want to be with you, they want you to be available for them when they want to see you. Um, and so if you're not, they're like, what's going on? Why is she not, sitting around waiting for me to contact her so I can come through or she can come through or whatever it is. Um, but yeah, so a lot of us weren't taught that we should not be giving everything to a guy as soon as we meet them. And if you've done that and you want to do that and that's working for you, if you're in the type of relationship you want to be in, or if you don't want to be in a relationship at all, then that's fine. But if deep down you're lying about wanting to be in a relationship and you're doing these things, it's probably just not in your best interest. It's in your best interest to, take your time and get to know someone, and know that doesn't guarantee that they won't still sleep with you and walk away. But in getting to know them, that should come out at some point. Like if you're really paying attention, you can tell if somebody's really genuinely interested or if they're just interested in the meantime. And then you'll know whether or not you even want to be bothered with that person. Because just because the person may be quote unquote single and available, which for me, if the person is having sex with another person, they're not really single, right? They're in a type of relationship. They're in a sexual or multiple sexual relationships. And the energy from those people can come back onto you because we can't brush off energy. You can't wash off somebody's energy, but you automatically pick up people's traits and character just by being around them. And you may not realize it for months or even years later. There's something that you say or do that that person used to say or do that you never said or did before you met that person. It kind of automatically happens with men and women. So again, they feel like if they can get 5, 10 women to cook for them, clean up their house, suck them off, give them, to give good wood to, why should they put in the effort to take somebody out on a date? Why should they put in the effort to check on you even? You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have to. They have women who are choosing them, who are catering to them, and are requiring nothing. And again, you do have some men who are not interested, but a lot of them will just give into it. Because again, most men cannot resist a woman who's spread eagle and like, here, you want some? Most men can't resist that. Most of them will say, oh, well, I shouldn't, but I'm going to since you offered it to me. So, I don't know. If you want to continue cooking for men and that's working for you, that's fine. But if you're someone who really wants to be in um, a committed relationship, it's probably best to wait. Like, make him some popcorn or buy him a bag of chips or something. But, to do wife duties before you're a wife is counterproductive. And usually, for most women, it does not work out in their favor. Yes, it has worked, but they're the exception and not the rule. Because there are some people who got married after they had a first, one night stand with somebody. But it's up to the guy. But what happened in that situation? She made him feel stressed. She had sex with him. And of course this is not with every situation, but a lot of times the girl will have sex with him and then he won't hear from her and he's wondering why, like he was just so good that he should be able to come back and spin the block, right? But she's like, oh, I did what I needed to do, I'm good. And so that makes that man then want to find out why she's good or how she's good. How could she just resist him after he gave her all this good wood? So there's that. um I don't know. Everybody, of course, has a right to do whatever they want to do, with whoever they want to do, the way that they want to do it. And again, if you're the type who wants to cook for men and that seems to be working for you, then that's fine. Um, Again, there is always an exception to the rule. And so, of course, people will have different stories, but most people do not have those same stories. Most women who are out here playing house, that's what I call it. I say I used to play house. And so when you meet somebody now, if you tell them, oh, well, I used to play house, they're like, oh, well, she gave him all those benefits. Why I gotta take her out on a date now? Not that previous person didn't take you out on dates, but in their mind, they will simplify it just to that. Like, why should I have to make an effort to date her when she ended up being in a relationship and not married and doing all of this for this guy? Right, so you have to be careful what stories you share because they can be turned against you, and or a person can manipulate you with that information. So I'm thinking. um uh mm, I don't know. Again, people can do whatever they want to do, but many of us weren't taught that, we shouldn't be cooking for men that we aren't married to. We shouldn't even really, again, unless you want to. But again, if your goal is to have something more, then you have to hold something back. You can't just give it all up. As soon as you meet somebody, that spells desperation. That spells you don't value yourself. That spells you don't respect yourself to a man. Even if you disagree, it doesn't matter if you disagree. Of course, they're not going to tell you. Of course, they ain't going to say, oh, yeah, well, after you had sex with me. I mean, you may have a man that may tell you that, but I doubt very seriously because most of them don't want to tell you the truth because they can't handle the truth because they don't want to see you upset or crying because they can't handle it. They can't handle the emotional stuff. So they rather lie because, two, again, they fall in love by what they hear, right? And how you treat them, right? Because they want to be respected. So, you know, if you tell a man something, he usually believes you because men don't. Yes, some women lie, and some men have been through trauma at the expense of a woman, right? But in general, men respect women naturally, is what I'm saying. And so, he may tell you what he thinks that you want to hear and, do the cuddling and, the hugging and the things that he feels that will get you emotionally attached. But he needs like physical touch. Most men need physical touch. And they know that when most women want quality time, that's what most women usually, um, I shouldn't say most women, but a lot of women want the time. They want the quality time. So they'll give you the quality time, the hugs. And, in exchange, they usually want you to respect them. And in respecting them, they may have certain expectations that they want out of a you or out of a relationship. Um, and they may want to know if you know how to cook. But again, that's part of being mysterious. Maybe you could cook for that person once you're engaged, you know, or maybe you can not cook for them, but let's say you cooked for a friend or you cooked for the holidays. You can offer them some of what you cooked, but to cook specifically for him, yeah, no, probably not a good idea. And again, with some men, I know that some women who did that right away, they got married, and that was that particular man because that's what he wanted at that time. But a lot of men, as we get older and the experiences that they've been through, there a lot of them are hurt, a lot of them are jaded, so they're not going to do some of the things that they used to do in the past because they feel like the pattern is repeating itself. And the same thing with us, we do the same thing. um but again, the exception is usually not the rule. And more times than not, a man is not going to marry a woman who bends over backwards to do everything for him. He's going to say she's a yes woman or pick me, as they say nowadays. She's doing those things to say, oh, pick me. Pick. And again, a lot of women have gotten married because they were pick me's. They did the pick me things, whether they knew it or not. But again, a lot of us were raised the man to way to a man's heart is through his stomach. They want to know you're gonna be there, ride or die, and all of this other stuff. And so women do that to get the man, and then they fall in line and you know, then do what they're really gonna do, or be who they really are, I should say. Um, I know this one woman who pretty much, and a lot of people feel like you have to play games in order to get a man because it's the same thing I was saying in another video. You have to play dumb, like, but if you don't know how to play dumb, this is probably not going to work for you, and but you have to play dumb and you have to play games. You have to play hard to get without playing hard to get, if that makes sense. Like you have to pretend that you're not interested. This is how a lot of women get men, right? They pretend not to be interested, whether it's real or actual. In the playing games part of it is if she's not really busy and she's just sitting looking at the phone and she knows he's calling and she just doesn't answer. That's playing games because she knows she a lot of times out of 10 she wants to answer, but she knows she can't make herself that available. Um Another thing, um but she may actually, so some women don't pretend to be busy. Some women actually keep themselves busy so that they're not sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring, right? They're actually doing stuff. They're actually busy. But being actually busy could mean that they've turned their ringer off and they're watching their favorite show on TV, right? Their phone could be in another room. It could be downstairs and they're upstairs. Again, watching a movie, cleaning, taking a bath, reading a book. Um, so she can actually be busy. She may not actually just be sitting there looking at the phone ring, but she could, be making herself, keeping herself occupied so that she doesn't seem desperate. And that she doesn't get manipulated or taken advantage of, and so that she keeps her head on straight. Um, so again, she may or may not be playing mind games as far as that is concerned. um, and she may also be playing mind games by pretending not to like him, because again, this is what makes men. It's so crazy. It's like if you do the opposite, it makes the person want you more. Like if you give somebody advice and you say, "Oh well, I think you should stay with that person." It's like because you gave them advice to stay, they'll leave just because you said they should stay. So it's almost the same thing. Like if you act like you don't like a guy, he'll start to like you because he thinks you don't like him. So he wants to know. This now piques his interest. It's a level of mystery. Like why doesn't she like me? Why doesn't she want to be me? Who else is she talking to? Who else is she giving her time to? I want her to give all her time to me. So then they step up accordingly if they really like you. But again, there are those who are dating two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 other women. And so, even though they may really like you, they don't want to give up those other women because they don't want to give up the hope that they may find or meet somebody better. So, they'll, continue to have that circle because it makes them feel secure, it makes them feel confident, it makes them feel more like a man. Because this is what society says that, a man is or should be about. And so, we have these generations who feel like they can do whatever they want to do, and people can do whatever they want to do, but many were um, raised to be very sexually free, or society has conditions to be very sexually free. So again, they don't see any boundaries, so they do whatever with whoever, whenever, however. And again, there's nothing, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but it has turned into what we have now, where a lot of men don't want to get married because they have trust, they have trust issues. They've seen other marriages fall apart. um, but then you have other nationalities of people who understand that in order to have something and build something, you need a partner. And so not getting married is not an option. And so it's just crazy how people can see in so many different ways. But a lot of them may have arranged marriages. But again, even if they have arranged marriages, they're going out with the whole family. They're not cooking for this man. They're not having sex with him before they get married. They're not doing anything because their family won't allow it. It's like this is what you do after you're married. So in the meantime, we'll go out on a group date. He's eating food, right? That's all they want to do is eat. So you've eaten and you're good. So if you just want to have fun, just have fun. Then do whatever you want. But if you want something more substantial, I encourage you to get to know the person. And if they don't want to get to know you, that's them weeding themselves out. So let them go. And you move on to the next one. There's that saying, you have to kiss 100 frogs before you meet your prince, right? And so you might have to go through a lot of dates, a lot of conversations in order to meet that right person. But again, if a person doesn't want to talk for free, it's because they're not interested in talking. They're interested in just getting what they want from you and moving on. And so that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that that's their choice and they have a right to choose whatever they want. And you have a right to move on with your life, or you have a right to play around with them, because that's all you would really be doing. Because even if you got married, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to take you seriously. I know women who they had boyfriends who cheated on them for their whole relationship for years. And then they get married and they're surprised when he cheats. Help me understand that. They think that they're so good of a person that he's just going to change his mind. And, you know, no, he showed you who he is. So would you choose to be married just to say that you got married and be unhappy? And now you're arguing. Or now you've started cheating yourself. Like, oh, well, he's doing it. I might as well do it too. So then this is not a healthy relationship. So then when you have kids, your kids see an unhealthy marriage because you just wanted to be married or you just wanted to be in a relationship and you were willing to do whatever he wanted, which was be naive and gullible. And he said, "Oh, I got me a stupid one. I know I can do whatever I want to do because she accepted me this way, so that means she okay with it. So when he cheat, you should be okay with it. If he's not available, if he can't do something for you, have emergency, what difference does it make? That's how he was before. You knew he wasn't dependable or reliable." But 9 times out of 10, a man is not going to leave his wife. They'll stay and they'll cheat. They may abuse her, whether it be verbally, mentally, emotionally, or physically. And then they'll do whatever they want to do. And then that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. I appreciate you for watching. As always, I love you. And I will see you in the next one. This means division. This means unity. So if you ever see somebody giving a peace sign like this, that means unity. They're not bugging. They're not throwing up gang signs. This is unity. This is separation. Unity. Love y'all.